It wasn't snowing yet, but the wind cut through my coat as if November knew something I didn't. I had one hand on Ella's shoulder, the other balancing the casserole dish I'd made from scratch the night before. Jake was 2 steps behind us, carrying the pumpkin pie with both hands like a sacred object. We rang the doorbell. No one answered. After a minute, I let myself in through the back door, same as I had since I was old enough to reach the handle. The kitchen smelled like sage turkey skin and the cinnamon glaze Dad always added to the ham. It should have felt like coming home. But no one looked up. My mother stood at the counter folding cloth napkins into sharp triangles. Her hair was shorter than I remembered, her smile absent. She glanced at the kids, then turned back to her napkins as if they were the only things she could control. My father was by the living room window swirling his bourbon like he was waiting for someone more important to arrive. Ryan, my younger brother, was already half a drinking feet on Dad's recliner arguing loudly about football with Uncle Dean. Same as always. His wife Jenna perched on the armrest beside him, her laugh light and constant like she was trying out for something. I cleared my throat. Happy Thanksgiving. Jake set the pie on the counter with both hands. We brought dessert. No one replied right away. It was Rachel, my sister, 4 years younger and always diplomatic, who finally said, "Hey, Lise. Sorry, we weren't sure if you were still coming." I blinked. "You invited me." Rachel shrugged, smile brittle. "Well, Ryan said maybe you'd changed plans. It's been busy." Ella tugged gently at my sleeve. "Where do we sit, Mommy?" I looked toward the dining room. 12 chairs, napkins folded, name cards handwritten in Jenna's loopy script. 12 plates, 1 long table. I counted again. No kids' table, no high chairs, no folding chairs pulled from the garage like every other year. Just 12. Rachel followed my gaze and cleared her throat. "We figured the kids could eat in the den. There's pizza and a movie. It'll be more fun for them." Jake didn't say anything, but he'd already seen enough. No one asked how we were doing. No one asked how the new apartment was coming along or if I needed help with Ella's school stuff. I wasn't expecting much, but I had expected something. I looked around that room, my childhood home, my parents, my siblings. And for the first time, it hit me I had arrived as a guest one they weren't sure they'd invited. Ella's hand stayed in mine. I didn't squeeze back. Not yet. I helped the kids settle in the den. Pizza paper plates, 1 fuzzy blanket for 2 little laps. The fun table, they called it, but no one asked if they wanted to sit there. I stayed a moment longer, smoothing Ella's hair, adjusting Jake's collar. His eyes didn't leave mine. "When are we going home?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "Soon," I said. "Not just yet." Back in the kitchen, the bourbon had flowed a little more freely. My father laughed at something Ryan said. Mom was already opening another bottle of red, not looking my way. I set the casserole down beside a tray of deviled eggs untouched. "I think we're going to head out after dessert," I said into the space between sentences. No one looked up. Then Ryan raised his glass. "Busy mom things, right? Always in a rush." Jenna giggled. "We get it. Single-parent life." She said it like she'd never once needed help from anyone. She said it like I wasn't standing 3 feet away. I straightened my spine. My voice didn't shake, but it landed quiet. "Actually, I need to share something." That got their attention. Jenna's smile froze. Rachel set her wine down. "I'm pulling back," I said, "from everything. The tuition helped the electric bill for Mom's place, the extras." My father's face changed first, just a flicker, but it was there. That slight confusion, like someone had moved his things without asking. "I thought you wanted to," Rachel said soft. "I did." I nodded. "And I still care. But I can't carry everything anymore." Ryan snorted. Since when is splitting a water bill considered carrying anything? I looked at him. He hadn't paid his student loans in 10 years. My parents still covered his car insurance. But I didn't say it. "I'm doing what's best for me and the kids," I said instead. That's all. No one thanked me for what I had done. No one asked why now. My mother finally spoke. "We never asked you to." The silence after that wasn't awkward. It was final. I picked up Ella's sweater from the back of a chair and folded it under my arm. Jake met me at the hallway, pizza crust in hand. "Are we leaving?" I looked down the hall, past the coats, past the photos frames that hadn't changed in a decade. My face wasn't in any of them. Not yet, I said again. But something had already left. We drove home in near silence. The kids dozed in the back, their heads tilting toward each other, still smelling of buttered crust and cinnamon. The car was warm, but I cracked the window anyway. I needed the cold to stay awake. The apartment was quiet when we stepped in. Too quiet. The kind that used to feel lonely, but tonight it felt like breathing again. Jake dropped his shoes in the hallway, then doubled back to line them up neatly. I used to remind him. Now, he reminded himself. Ella climbed into my lap on the sofa without asking, her face pressed into my sweater, sticky from frosting, and something unspoken. "Did we do something wrong?" she mumbled, voice muffled. I didn't answer right away. I smoothed her hair, counted the seconds between her breaths. "No, baby," I said finally. "We just don't always get to decide how others treat us, but we do get to decide what we keep close." She pulled back, looked at me serious. "Do we still love them?" The question didn't come with anger, just the kind of wonder that lives in children too young to understand grown-up disappointments. "I think love can stay," I said, "even if we don't visit as much." Jake had curled into the blanket next to us, quiet eyes open but far away. He hadn't asked for hugs in years, but he rested his head against my arm, and that was enough. We sat like that for a while. No TV, no background noise, just the rhythm of our own stillness. On the coffee table, I noticed the paper Ella had drawn on earlier that week, 3 stick figures holding hands under a crooked sun. She had written all our names in shaky purple marker, Jake, Ella, Mom. No grandparents, no cousins, no one missing, no one extra. I didn't add to it, I didn't correct it. I just reached for a magnet and pinned it on the fridge right where we'd see it every morning. Outside, the wind carried the last leaves across the pavement. Inside, we were exactly where we belonged. The first missed call came on Tuesday. Rachel, then 2 from my mother. 1 from an unknown number. I knew it was Dad. He never saved his own contact. I didn't answer. The voicemails started stacking up like unopened mail. Short ones clipped. No apologies. Just fragments of sentences that didn't know where to land. "Hey, Alyssa, just checking if you got home all right. The kids? Seemed okay. We're going through a bit of a thing with the house, nothing serious. Just, would be good to talk. Your father says hello." By Friday, Jenna had sent me a message through Instagram. Not even a text. "Hey, just a heads up, Ryan's in some trouble. Might be good for the family to meet. Let me know when you can come over." Not "how are you?" Not "we miss you." Just heads up. That night, I stood in the kitchen with my phone face down and the lights dimmed. Jake was asleep on the sofa, a library book falling from his chest. Ella was humming to herself in the bathtub, replaying her favorite song from memory. I leaned against the counter watching the red notification light pulse like a heartbeat. I didn't press play. I didn't need to. They weren't reaching out because they remembered my worth. They were reaching out because something cracked. The next day, Rachel showed up. She didn't call ahead, just knocked holding a paper bag of donuts like we were still in college, like this was still Saturday morning brunch before the world got complicated. She looked tired, lipstick undone, eyes darting. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside. She didn't sit right away, just hovered by the counter fiddling with a mug that didn't need washing. "It's Ryan," she said. "He might have, okay? He did something stupid. And now Mom and Dad are, well, not in a great place either." I waited. She glanced at me careful. "They could really use your help sorting this out." There it was. Not "can we talk?" Not "we're sorry." Just the unspoken math of you fix things. But I wasn't holding that job anymore. "I'm glad you came," I said gently. "I really am." Her shoulders lifted hope briefly. "But I don't think I'm the one they should call." Rachel didn't argue, just stared at the mug, then nodded like something had finally settled. Before she left, she looked around the apartment once more. "You really made this place feel like home." I didn't tell her the kids had done most of that work. I didn't hear anything for 6 days. Then the emails started. Not to me, Jake's school, Ella's daycare, Both had emergency contacts listed under my parents, both flagged for failed payments. Next came a call from my old bank manager. I still had alerts set up from when I handled Dad's mortgage during his surgery years ago. "Just a courtesy heads up," she said. "Your father added someone new to the account last month. There's been activity." Activity. That's how they say someone pulled out $19,000 in 2 weeks. The someone was Ryan. Apparently, he had borrowed against the house, then used Dad's credit line to cover a failed business venture, some crypto-flavored disaster with no paperwork, no plan, just confidence and charm. And now the walls were closing in. Mom texted a full paragraph. Not angry, just scattered. "If you have any bandwidth, we could use help negotiating with the bank. You always had a way with words. They listen to you more than they ever do us. No mention of Thanksgiving. No mention of the casserole I carried like peace. Just, we need you." I stared at the message a long time. The next day, Rachel sent a photo. It was the front porch of the house, paint chipped. A foreclosure notice taped to the door like a scarlet letter. She didn't write a caption. She didn't need to. That night, Jake heard me moving dishes louder than I meant to. He wandered in, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "They're in trouble, huh?" he asked. I hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, they are." He looked down at the floor toes curling against the cold tile. "Are we going to help them?" I knelt beside him, one hand on his back. "We're going to do what's best for us. That's what I promised." He leaned into me, small and warm and trusting. In the past, I would have been halfway across town already. Laptop open, crisis plan, typed bank calls on hold. But I stayed right there on the kitchen floor, holding my son and watching the tea kettle steam. They had built a house of glass around Ryan, convinced the sun rose and set in his hands, and now that it cracked, they wanted me to fix it. But I had stopped bringing glue to a place I was never invited to sit. Rachel called again on a Sunday morning, this time earlier than usual. I was folding laundry, the sun barely up. The kids were still asleep. Her voice was flat. No preamble. They might lose the house this week. I paused with one of Jake's shirts in my hand, the one with the faded rocket ship. "What do you want me to do, Rach?" She didn't answer right away. Finally, just, "Come by. Talk to them. Maybe they'll listen if you're there." I almost smiled, not because it was funny, because it was familiar. She kept talking. "They don't need money. They need help negotiating. Your calm voice, your logic." My calm voice, my logic. All the things they'd dismissed as overbearing, cold, too calculating until now. I told her I'd think about it. That evening she showed up. Again, without warning. This time she didn't bring donuts, just her presence and a folder. Inside statements, letters, a handwritten note from Mom that looked more like a grocery list than a plea. "I'm just the messenger," she said quickly. "Don't shoot me." "I'm not angry," I said and meant it. She took a breath. "Look, I know it hasn't been fair. I know they've leaned on you more than anyone." I waited. "But there's still family lies, and we're in deep. You know how bad it looks if the house goes under. The neighbors talk, the church talks." There it was. The real reason. Not fear of losing shelter. Fear of losing face. Rachel looked at me, searching for the old rhythm between us. "You always kept the peace." I folded the folder shut gently. "I'm not angry," I repeated. "But I'm done being useful only when it hurts me." Rachel didn't argue. Not really, but her voice shifted. "So that's it," she said, too light. "You're just out." It wasn't said with cruelty, but it wasn't said with care either. "I'm not out," I replied. "I just stopped showing up where I'm unwelcome." She stood there for a moment, shoulders tight, then picked up the folder and left it on the counter anyway, just in case she murmured. I didn't walk her to the door. Later that night, I found Ella asleep in my bed, curled into the blankets like a secret. I didn't move her. I just lay beside her and watched the moon through the blinds, quiet as snow. The next time the doorbell rang, it was my father. I hadn't seen him in person since Thanksgiving. He looked older than I remembered, thinner, the kind of tired that no sleep could cure. He held his hat in his hands like a schoolboy. Said my name once quiet. Can I come in? I didn't answer. I just stepped aside. He didn't sit. He paced a little, looked at the family photos on the hallway wall, Jake's science fair Ella in her Halloween astronaut suit. You've done well, he said. I waited. He sighed. Your brother... He wasn't ready. We didn't see it. I let the silence hang. Let him taste it. He glanced at me. Your mother wanted to come, but she's embarrassed. I offered not unkindly. He didn't deny it. We never meant to shut you out, he said. It just got complicated. Your choices made things harder. Ah, your choices. The familiar refrain. The decisions I made to protect myself now dressed up as burdens they never chose to carry. I didn't come here to argue, he added quickly. Just to ask. If there's anything at all you could do to help us hold things together. I looked at him. Really looked. This man had raised me, taught me to change tires, balance checkbooks, shake hands firmly, but not once had he taught me how to ask for help without cloaking it in pride. You built a system, I said slowly, where I didn't belong unless I was useful. And now you want me back, not because you miss me, because the system failed. He opened his mouth, closed it. I stepped closer, not to comfort, but to be clear. I was there, I said. Every holiday, every bill, every meltdown. You just didn't see me. He didn't speak. I was there, I repeated. You just saw easier when I was gone. The silence that followed was different than all the others. He didn't try to fill it. When he finally left, he didn't take the folder Rachel left behind. He didn't say goodbye. Just nodded and closed the door behind him. I stood there for a while. Then I turned off the porch light. Winter came quiet that year. The holidays passed with fewer calls. No invitations, no forwarded group texts. The silence wasn't harsh, it was deliberate. I didn't decorate much. Just a few lights around the window and a small tree Jake and Ella picked out themselves. Plastic ornaments, paper stars they made at school. It was enough. One morning, just after New Year's, I opened the mailbox and found a letter. Handwritten. No return address. It was from my mother. 4 pages. Dense cursive. Not quite an apology. Not quite anything. Mostly memories, vague regrets, and one line that stood out. We didn't mean to hurt you. We just didn't know where you fit anymore. I folded the letter back into its envelope and placed it in the drawer beside the scissors and spare batteries. I didn't throw it away. I just didn't read it again. A week later, Jake asked if we could finally change the hallway wall. What do you mean, I asked. He pointed at the old photos. The ones from years ago, school plays, birthdays, a few of me with my siblings when we still thought growing up meant growing together. We could make it just us now, he said. So we did. We took every frame down, wiped the dust, and started over. Alyssa, Jake, Ella, park picnics, library awards, Halloween astronauts. One photo showed the 3 of us on the couch, arms tangled, laughing at something only we knew. That one I printed large. I placed it in the hallway centered. No caption, no extra names. Just us. A few days later, Rachel texted. The house sold. Dad and Mom moved in with Ryan for now. It's a mess, but maybe it's better this way. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to clarify. That night after the kids went to sleep, I made tea and sat by the window. The porch light was still off. I watched the street stay quiet. I watched nothing happen. And for the first time in years, I didn't brace for the next knock. I didn't explain myself. I didn't leave a forwarding address. If you've ever had to rebuild your story without telling anyone why, just leave a light off. We'll understand.